A quick new idea, daily, from the world's greatest TEDx talks. I'm your host, Atossa Leoni, and this is TEDx Shorts. When we think about the Arctic, it's often in the context of climate change. Scientists, climate activists, and the general public are concerned about melting ice and the prospect of losing the Arctic. At the same time, the Arctic's resources have made it an increasingly interesting geopolitical hotspot where Arctic and non-Arctic nations face controversial policy battles. In today's episode, Alexandra Middleton, an associate professor of business accounting at University of Oulu in Finland, argues that we should look to the people who already live in the Arctic for the most sustainable, inclusive policy solutions.
Here is a question I'd like you to think about. What image comes to your mind when you think about the Arctic? Wonderland of ice, polar bears, Arctic explorers. Everyone has their own version of the Arctic. I have my own image as well. I'm an Arctic person. I was born in the biggest city beyond the polar circle, Murmansk. I've lived all my life in the high north. My heart belongs there. When I think about the Arctic, I see people that live there. I'm also a researcher. I study Arctic, its social and economic development. I'm interested in images and narratives people have about this place. Through my research, it became clear to me that outsiders' perceptions disproportionately exclude Arctic people. I'm here to change this narrative. Arctic is mostly an ocean surrounded by 8 sovereign states having claims to Arctic resources. Faraway place that explorers used to dream about is now at the center of international attention. Why all this attention? The ice is melting, making extraction of resources easier. And there is a lot of oil and gas up there. According to best estimates, 13% of undiscovered world oil reserves and 30% of undiscovered natural gas reserves. And it's not even mentioning rare earth metals. But who creates the narrative? Who plants the image of the Arctic in your head? There are basically 2 forces that influence the way the Arctic is perceived in the world. These are geopolitical forces and the media. Geopolitically, it looks like everyone is trying to stake their claim to this area. Countries outside the Arctic are increasingly interested in our hidden riches. Non-Arctic governments produce their own Arctic strategies. Did you know that countries like South Korea, Japan, China, Germany, Spain, France, the Netherlands, the UK, Scotland within the UK, they all have their own view on economic development and environmental protection of the Arctic. And they are so interested that often their strategies are much more comprehensive than those of the Arctic states themselves. Consider the rhetoric being used. In 2018, China published its strategy paper on the Arctic, declaring itself a near-Arctic state. Does it look like China as a near-Arctic state? To me, Arctic is not some faraway icy no man's land or repository of natural resources. It's homeland to 4.5 million people with their dreams and aspirations. People of the Arctic don't want it to be seen as one big national protected park. It seems odd to us that some far-off governments should seek so much influence on our area. And we, Arctic people, are often not included as stakeholders. In 2019, indigenous peoples of Finland, Sweden, Norway, and Russia published their own Arctic strategy, which is unlike national strategies that are targeted at protection of sovereign interest. Sami strategy is human-oriented. It calls for co-design and co-production of Western and indigenous knowledge. I call on the media to include Arctic experts and local people in their media coverage. I call on politicians of both Arctic and non-Arctic states to include Arctic people as stakeholders. Development should be inclusive and benefit local people. Arctic needs a different image and narrative, not just a polar bear land resource base, but also as a place that many people call their home. We have the right to diversify our economic activity. Remember, it's not our economic activity that is raising your sea levels, but it's rather your activities that are melting our rice. If we listen and learn from each other, then we can have the Arctic as a model of the most sustainable development to be used anywhere on Earth.
The TEDx talk you just listened to was recorded in Oulu, Finland. All TEDx events are independently organized by volunteers who believe in TED's mission of ideas worth spreading. Special thanks to the organizing team at TEDxOulu. Want to listen to more TEDx talks? Explore the entire archive on the TEDx YouTube channel. I'm Atossa Leoni. Thanks for listening, and see you tomorrow.